Yes, Ondo's about to go crazy. Crazy parabolic that is. And today, I want to talk about the consequences of what may happen with the Ondo Summit in around about a few hours from the upload of this video, and how that's going to impact the price of Ondo and what is likely to come in the next 12 months. Okay, to cut a long story short, by the way, the next 12 months are going to be very bullish for this coin. But what may happen here in the short term may be a different story. So let's explore this. Of course, it's all going to be positive in the end. But of course, we can take advantage of short-term volatility. So before we get into it, guys, hit the like on the video if you find yourself enjoying it, but particularly learning something new, because you will learn new stuff today. I can guarantee if you're new, you're going to learn a lot. And make sure you're subscribed as well, because this sort of stuff will help you make money as well. So as we all know, Ondo is an amazing cryptocurrency, right? It's one that I do see going above 100 billion market cap, whether in the next 12 months or the next few years. It doesn't matter. It's heading that direction. The reason being is because in one day, and I'm uploading this, of course, like maybe 12 hours, roughly speaking, before this event, but about one day from this upload, we are having the Ondo Summit. Now, on the Ondo Summit, we have some really big speakers going to this thing, okay? We have guys from institutions and even from the government that will likely put in place some sort of way where Ondo becomes a marketplace for essentially Wall Street 2.0. So this is going to change the way that many companies work within the financial sector, I think, forever. And it's like that big. It really is that big. Ondo gave us a sneak peek into what they're unveiling, which is the Ondo Global Markets, a way in which they're working with BlackRock, Fidelity, the DTCC, the bloody government themselves to make this happen. And in this spoiler, we can see Apple Incorporated, right? So we can actually see there's an equity stock. We can see there's a fixed income ETF. We can see there's things like Amazon.com, there's Alphabet, more ETFs. All right, they're doing all of this. This is their interface on chain. So you can buy anything completely through Ondo regarding the real world as well. So of course, Ondo is at a great intersection regardless of what happens in the short term. And yes, as you may assume, I'm expecting some short-term volatility here. We've got World Liberty Finance actually buying Ondo. Okay, so the Trump family knows Ondo is going to be great. They're buying Link, Aave, ETH, and that's pretty much about it. All right, so they're heavy in the ETH ecosystem. And of course, that's where Ondo is situated. Ondo is also a made in the USA coin. And it's in, I do think, possibly the biggest narrative of this bull run. It's neck and neck with AI, but I think AI is so saturated with AI agent projects these days, and just AI in general is very saturated. I think given the quality project Ondo is, in the massive narrative that we have real world assets becoming to be, it looks like it just simply is a no-brainer pick, I think, overall. USDY just went live on BitGo, which is massive. Ondo Nexus just launched, where they're working closer with Franklin Templeton, Wisdom Tree, BlackRock. And we also do have a partnership with Ripple. And of course, they were a head sponsor at the Crypto Ball for Trump. A lot of guys are saying to me, Kyron, well, is your price predictions increasing because of the global summit, right? Or because of the Ondo global markets and stuff like that? No, my price predictions do not move, because most of my price predictions already put in place to some degree the news that comes out. See, most influencers these days, and most people will begin talking about the Ondo Summit and the Ondo global markets now. Go on Twitter, go on YouTube, people are talking about it. Influencers are saying they're buying the coin now. But guys, we knew about this 8 months ago, okay? You have to buy when no one else is looking into it for the expectation of this sort of stuff to come about. So I already factor in to some degree what will likely come from these events. It's called catalysts, and I talk about this quite a bit on the channel here as well. So I got a great question here from Ape Long. Okay, he said pretty much, have your sell prices increased on Ondo? And I said no, because this is where people get wrecked. All right, so the news materializes and predictions seem realistic, but then the bar is raised. So you think, hey, Ondo Global Markets is out, people are buzzed about it. Kyron thinks that Ondo can go between $12 to $16 realistically. Now this is all coming out. Now I think above 20 bucks is realistic. But guys, again, as I said, this is all simply pricing in. What if your price prediction magically ends up coming true at like $16, let's just say, And because the bullish news is just catching up to that price prediction before it goes down, hypothetically, you're here moving up and up and up. It doesn't make sense to do that. Now, I suggest no one does a price prediction. Matter of fact, my predictions are just guesses. I do use data to help me as well, but it's all based on fundamentals. And again, it's just a forecast, a rough prediction. I think Ondo could even go to 100 billion market cap in this cycle or the next. But as it stands for a price, I try to factor in these events. So when they do come up, people act shocked, but we knew it was coming. All right. So where do I think Ondo will go? Well, in the short term, as I've kind of mentioned to you, I think there will be some volatility. Like I called and played out perfectly with the unlocks, here's what I think's likely going to happen next. Again, it's a market, anything can change. It's just my 2 cents. There's 2 typical scenarios that play out in cryptocurrencies with these news big events, right? So 10% of the time, so hardly ever, what we find is that there is an event, like a news story, like with Bitcoin over here, where it's buy the news, essentially sell the rumor. So what happened back over here? Well, essentially BlackRock filed for the Bitcoin spot ETF in about June of 2023. Now, this came out of nowhere. People expected it maybe some of the institutions driving price down here to buy in cheaper expected it, but most of retail didn't. So Bitcoin's price was at 24,800. It spiked up about 30%, going to about 32,000. And then we hit a point in which whales took profit. Once retail thought that, Bitcoin was going to the moon and now BlackRock's involved, it's not going to stop. And of course, it always does stop because nothing stops people taking profit. These whales took profit, and of course, they probably decided, let's push the price down even further to get even cheaper, because they probably realized that things were only going to be getting better from this point. So price fell pretty much back down and spiked to the exact same price it was over here. Okay, so price fell down. It touched this point again a second time, and whales began to accumulate, because at this point, they pretty much knew BlackRock's involved. BlackRock gets what they want. So this was essentially a sudden, really big news announcement that pretty much caught most people off guard. And on that announcement, boom, price went up. Essentially, price was not priced in, or the event was not priced in. Now, the second event here happens most of the time in crypto, 90%, okay? And this is where price essentially is priced in before the actual event itself. So going off that exact same time, okay, so when whales were accumulating, let's just fast forward a little bit. Well, price was about 26,800, and then there was a buy the rumor, sell the news situation play out, where essentially news spread of the ETFs possibly being approved soon. So again, whales began to accumulate down here. They started feeding retail that narrative. They started telling retail, hey, the ETFs are going to be approved soon. The ETFs, they're coming. And so retail buys. As a matter of fact, it pushes Bitcoin up from about 26,000 up to about $48,000, $49,000. So we pretty much almost 2x'd. And then guess what happens? The ETFs were approved, and to everyone's surprise, guess what happens? It was a sell the news event. Again, this happens almost every single time with any event in crypto, bar situation 1. And this is going to apply to Ondo here in a second, because there is a situation on the 6th, so in a few hours from the post of this video, that there is a massive, buy the actual news event. So what happens here? Whales take profit because, of course, they knew it was coming, and retail is used as exit liquidity. Retail says, why does the market sell off on good news? Retail doesn't get their head around this concept, okay? So we tank back down here to about $38,500. So still higher than down here when whales were accumulating, okay? But this gives them a secondary entry point, and then they can buy cheaper, get their friends involved, or just simply, again, buy more bags, and then they send it even higher. This is textbook crypto situations that play out. It's either one of these two most of the time. Now, we can find a kind of blend of both of these, and that is something I want to discuss in this video. You see, because on this recent crash here, Ondo's held up quite nicely, as we all know. And that's mainly because everyone is anticipating massive growth here in the short term, particularly around not just the Ondo Summit, by the way. This is more a formal occasion that they're going to be talking about the tokenization of things, but Ondo global markets. And ultimately, I think a lot of this has to come with the next 12 months. So sentiment is quite high. Obviously, it's a market and any situation can play out. But if I'm a betting man, I believe a situation here, we might find some sideways price movement, some chop, and then a possible move down. Then this news will again be leveraged and will begin going up and up and up like this. All right, that's scenario 1. Scenario 2 is that we have massively bullish news, and again, the price just spikes immediately. That is, again, that 10%, while this over here is at 90% in my opinion. Again, I'm not trying to sit here and play exactly what's going to happen out. That's just crazy talk. As we get more developments over the next week, I'll know a bit more clearly what exactly will happen. So what does this all mean essentially, right? Well, Sell-offs from the news will likely occur at some point post-event. Especially in a bearish market, positive news is quickly absorbed. Whales and insiders make big money by thinking about one thing. How can we make the most money? Can we send this coin lower, buy the panic and confusion when we do send it lower, and then use the same news again to fuel to send it higher? Because if you were paying attention before, every scenario that does play out, in my opinion, always has a pullback. As a matter of fact, that's how markets work. When price goes up, it eventually does come down. Now, in both of these situations, both 2 and 1, what happens? Well, of course, there is always a sell-off either before or after the particular event occurs. If there is a massive announcement, and like I said before, there is that chance that Ondo shoots up on the day of the event, it will likely come down, giving whales a fantastic entry point. This is going to scare a lot of people when that does happen. And then, of course, they'll use the news. They'll use all of the amazing bullishness to send it higher for the rest of the bull run. But again, there is that situation like scenario 2 over here, where essentially we already right now are in this sort of buy the rumor phase where everyone's hyped up on Ondo and it's fantastic and all this great news is coming out, and they kind of use that to send it lower. Again, there could be some initial chop, or it might just come straight down and then go up. But either way, who's winning? The guys who are winning are the whales, buying the fear, buying the fear. That is why, as you'll soon see, I have a little bit of cash on the sides just for Ondo, expecting at some point whether my average buy price will be higher or lower to get in. Because if we do have scenario 1 over here play out, which is, again, the initial pump, and then we have the sell-off, then what's that going to mean? I'm going to increase my average buy-in price. My average buy-in price is like down beneath here. But that's okay, because at this point in time, we'll have confirmation of good news. I can damn well assume price will go much higher than that. Even in a somewhat bearish market, it would still be a good time just to DCA at that point. Either that plays out, or I simply just lower my average buy-in price when price comes a bit lower. So I don't know what particular side of the story we're in right now. This could be whale accumulation. This could be buy the rumor. This, of course, was the market pulling all the coins down, but considering Ondo hasn't fallen down as much as other coins, and as a matter of fact, it's recovered quite well versus the entire market, essentially, this could be a buy the rumor type event. Now, if the market wasn't bearish right now, and let's just say Bitcoin was looking quite good, I firmly believe this obviously wouldn't have happened. This definitely wouldn't have happened. It would probably be much higher right now, giving me much more confidence it would likely be a sell the news event. But like I said, no one actually knows, at least right now, what's going to happen in a few hours and what is announced on the Ondo Global Summit. But I like to work on risk and reward percentages, right? Taking a hedge into the more favorable circumstance. And the favorable circumstance happens 90% of the time, which is that it's almost always a buy the rumor, which is what's happening right now, sell the news event. Unless Ondo shocks the world, which there is that, probably more higher than 10% chance of happening with a massive announcement. Ondo Global Markets is here as of today. BlackRock, CFTC, DTCC, Fidelity, Wisdom Tree, right? Apollo. Guys, we're launching this thing. Everyone's using it. That, I believe, would send the price up into this sort of buy the news event. That would send the price up immediately. Okay. In addition, maybe a Binance listing as well, because they're not on Binance, shockingly enough. This is actually a good thing for us because it will be listed on Binance to some point. That's going to not just shock Ondo's price, that'll shock the whole world. And it's probably more than a 10% chance of happening. But again, percentages. I work on risk and reward. So how can this be played? What am I personally doing myself? Well, I've got most of my Ondo positions in. There is no point FOMOing into Ondo on the day of the event, even now, all right? So you don't want to be like, oh my God, it's happening, it's going to 100x, because that's what whales ultimately want. I have some cash on the sidelines strictly for Ondo, by the way, for a potential and likely sell-off immediately after the event or in the weeks to follow. Patience is key in this game. And the main reason is because whales will want to get in more. The market sentiment right now is bad, so it won't take much to tank it. And when the market is bullish again, it will be super easy to leverage the good news. So if you want to get into Ondo right now, but you currently do not have a position in it, or you want to top up your smaller position, then in my opinion, non-financial advice, only get in before the event if your multiples from your average buy-in are realistic. If you buy now and you need a 10x from Ondo, therefore you need a $15 token price, That to me makes no sense. The price may go to $18, and again, I think Ondo could, go as high as $25. Honestly, it has that potential. But you don't want to be, risking the top of a coin to get your multiples. It's too late. So wait for the sell-off, or just don't buy the coin. The problem is you and many people in crypto have this fear of missing out, where it's like if you don't jump in the bandwagon, if you don't get in when the price starts soaring, you're missing out on multiples. But as a matter of fact, that is exactly what you need other people to be doing when you're buying much lower. So it's okay. If you've missed the train, catch the next one. There'll be plenty of opportunities. In my opinion, that's only if you're not exposed to Ondo. But if you're putting in most of your positions tied to a specific entry level right now, unless you're looking for like a 3, 4, or 5x, it doesn't make much sense to you, in my non-financial opinion, to be diving so heavy at this point. By just waiting an extra week or two, or even a few days, you may have a much better opportunity on the cards. But like I tell people all the time, guys, if you make a buy, you should be buying because you are happy with the multiples this coin could go to achieve your target. That's why you should know how many multiples you need from a coin based on your goal setting and how much money you put in. If you need $1 million and you put in 500K, so you need a 2x, then you can pretty much buy Ondo now. You could buy Ondo at the highs at $2, and if Ondo falls down to $1, you lost half the money in the coin. That's okay because there is a very good chance Ondo goes to $4. Do you know what I'm saying? It is all subjective. So I've made videos in the recent past here very bullish on Ondo, and I still stand by that. Ondo's a great coin. If you were buying way back when I first started talking about the coin, you would have had great entries. Matter of fact, even if you bought the highs, still a very good entry because those highs are pretty much, roughly speaking, the current time/lows. There's nothing wrong with buying these lows down here. I'm still very bullish. So guys, thank you so much for watching this video. Let me know what you think down below, and I will talk to you all tomorrow. Take good care. Bye-bye.